Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 7 of What If Naruto Was Banished from Konoha and Made Them Regret It. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new series over on Anime King of What If Naruto Was Born 6 years earlier with the Mokiton and Sharingan, and enjoy that guys. And remember, for new, yes I indeed have 4 channels which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Making family, and thank you for all of your help and support. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode starts the intro guys. So the last part we left off, Sasuke tried to block Temari's path as she told him to get the hell out of the way, even bumping him with her shoulder, as she wanted nothing to do with the Uchiha. How could she make that more clear? Besides, she had to get home, and quickly. She was worried about Naruto. Some might be upset of being humiliated like that, but Sasuke was not, as he was glad how strong she was, because he saw her as worthy to repopulate the Uchiha clan. Thus, he spoke to Shikamaru about the Chunin exams. Shikamaru warned him not to really do anything with her, seeing that she was a good person, as Sasuke told him that his, worry were not founded here, because this had nothing to do with him. Sasuke had his own goals, and he would achieve those no matter what. Some time passed as she finally made her way back, as she stormed throughout the village. The people saw that Kazekage was back as they were happy to see him, while Temari made her way straight towards Naruto's room. Arriving there, she locked the door behind her, as the seals were activated so no one else could get inside. As she saw him, all her anger left her, as she saw the state that he was in. Granted, he was recovering, but still. Naruto was poisoned by sorcery, a poison that negated his healing of his previous chakra, and yet still he was, coming along fine. There was a reason why the fox was said to be the strongest out of all Bijus, as it wouldn't allow Naruto to die, and his natural Uzumaki healing was also helping as well, so he would recover soon enough. Immediately she hugged him and kissed him, as she missed him so much. While that was going on, Gaara and Kankuro made their way towards the council. The council informed them of all the good changes that Naruto had made, as Gaara wanted to create a position for Naruto, something that would elevate his status within the village. As also, Gaara announced who Naruto's parents were, especially the Minato part. That got all of them shocked, but he would not announce it to the world yet until Naruto was back on his feet, as Naruto was also plotting to do so very soon. But the council was shocked to hear that, and because of Naruto well liked in the village and more people coming towards him, it would help build a good morale between the citizens and the Kazekage, which was a good thing. They were able to enter the room as Gaara told Naruto about the position, as Naruto was surprised by that, but he only thanked Gaara for that. The next morning, Cho and the doctor came to check up on Naruto, as all the poison had seemingly almost been flushed out of his system, but the edges of his wounds had to be cleaned. The healing rate was slowing down because of that, so he was in need of the bandages. Once they were gone, Temari sat down with him, as she wanted to, get married. As Naruto was surprised by that, they had not really set a full date for the marriage yet, but she wanted to be soon, as she didn't want to spend another day without knowing that she wasn't his wife. As Naruto was beyond happy to hear that. However, he promised her if she was doing this because she thought that anyone in Konoha can force her to do anything. She told him no, but Naruto told her that he would kill every single one of them if they tried to touch her in the slightest. Look in his eyes, as she knew that he meant it. So yes, they were gonna get married. as he informed Kankuro and Gara. Kankuro did what he usually did, he fainted, which gave them a good laugh, as they would get married real soon. So with the time passing, Naruto was back on his feet, with his new position to be whole, at the Hidden Sand, as Temari had dropped out of the proceedings, given that she was now on leave because of her and Naruto married. Well, it wasn't a problem though, seeing that Shikamaru could handle it, as Naruto told him to pick someone to help him with the endeavors. He wanted to find someone until Sasuke found him, and spoke to him about the proceedings of the exams. Sasuke was gonna come there, saying that he would like to see this year possible Jennings, which Shikamaru knew was a lie. However, he could use this to his advantage as he would make Sasuke do all the work, saying that he wanted to help him out with this. Tsunade did told him to find someone as he informed her that Sasuke would be the person that would be joining him, as Shikamaru would just trick him into doing all the work. He was really gullible that way. However, in Sasuke's mind he believed that he would go to the sand and humiliate Temari's boyfriend, soon to be husband, which he would not stand for, and he was going to take his place and become the one that she was going to be with. Yes, it was all planned out in his head, all perfectly. He was unaware of the problem that he was going to face. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself, and don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs coming your way guys over the other channels. Yes, I indeed have 4 of them which I post what if on every single day for you guys enjoy. So go ahead and smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Making family. So yeah, without further ado, wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this? Begin now guys. It was a bright, happy day within the Sand Village. The Sabukuna estate was fully decorated. The day, the whole village, the Sabukuna family and our 2 favorite blondes has been waiting for has finally arrived. The whole open area was decorated with some of the most expensive food from the village, lined up at the tables over to the side. There was a special stand at the side that had been kept covered, and to be opened later by someone specific. Kankuro stood at the entrance in a normal suit, and he wasn't wearing any war paint, as he welcomed all the guests. Temari had threatened him not to wear any war paint, any of his little makeup, and not to bring any of his dolls here, otherwise she would make him regret it. Needless to say, he just be quiet, knowing that it's not a good idea to piss off a bride on her wedding day, even though he wanted to tell her that it was war paint and it was also battle puppet. But today was her wedding day, so he just kindly kept his mouth shut. Meanwhile, that was going on inside of Naruto and Temari's bedroom. The both of them were making out on the bed, as they finally broke apart. Today is the day, Naruto-kun, she said, and here we are making out, instead of getting ready for the wedding. She whispered softly, causing him to chuckle. And when have we been a normal couple, Haim? He asked her, in a soft voice. As she looked at him. Are you nervous? She asked. Yep, said Naruto. Why? She said. Well, today is the most special day of my life. The day I complete the dream that I've had since I was a child. Have a loving wife to hold, who would be at my side no matter what, and spend the rest of my life with her. And I know how much you dreamt about this day as well, so I really don't want anything to go wrong, said Naruto. I want it to be one of the most special days of our life, and one that we remember with smiles on our faces, said Naruto. She reached up as she captured his lips, as her kiss seemed to wash all of his nervousness away. Don't worry, the most important thing is I have you by my side. It will be the most special day of our life, and everything will be perfect, as long as I'm with you. You want to be with me as well, don't you? She said. I would not exchange a chance of being with you for anything in the world, said Naruto. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Uzumaki, the guests are arriving already. Get ready, you guys are about to be married. Fool around later, the people are gonna be waiting. It was the voice of Gara. As Temari giggled as Naruto got up. Aren't you forgetting something? Temari asked, looking towards Naruto. As he stretched his cheek. I am not sure what you're talking about. She sent him a soft glare as she tapped her feet on the ground. My dress, where is it? She said. You better have not forgotten it. Oh, said Naruto with a smirk, as she punched him in the shoulder. You tease, she said to him as Naruto went to the closet, as he pulled out a box, an elegant, decorated wooden box. As he handed it to her, she clutched it to her chest rather tightly. You love it, Haim. I promise, said Naruto. Now, what about me, he said. Or should I go out there in my boxers, he asked, making her hit him once again. And risk all of the girls jumping on you. You belong to me, and me only, she said, as Naruto nodded with her protective nature. As she walked over towards the bedside table, as she pulled out an elegant box of her own and handed it to him. You will love it too, she told him. There's no doubt about that, said Naruto, making her smile at him. She gave him another kiss. I'll see you in a moment, she said, as she went out of the room. As Gaara was standing out there. As Gaara stepped in, as he looked at Naruto. So, Uzumaki, or should I say Namikaze? The day has finally come, huh? Yes, it is, said Naruto. I can't believe it's already been 3 years. And today's my wedding day, said Naruto. Everything shall be fine, said Gaara. You and my sister share something very special, and you're the only one that can make her that happy. You are always a part of this family, but today, the formalities have finally been completed. Keep her happy. That is all I ask, said Gaara. As Naruto smiled genuinely towards his best friend. I love her more than anything, Gaara. You know that I would give anything for her happiness. And I'm happy that we're now officially a family. As Gaara nodded before, he hugged the blonde. Naruto was surprised as he hugged him back. As the both of them share a family hug, breaking apart, Naruto smiled at him. Keep her happy, said Gaara. I swear on it, said Naruto. As Gaara nodded before he left the room. Time skip. In the compound. Kankuro, Gaara, and Baki were welcoming all the guests as they all saw the arrangements. The affair was not that massive, as all the guests that came there were seated. As Kankuro went to go and fetch Naruto while Matsuri went to go and fetch Temari. A few moments later as Naruto came out, walking side by side with Kankuro. As he was wearing a blue shirt, it looked rather exquisite. The fabric that made it was something special. There was navy blue flames at the bottom. Same material in his blue pants. And over the matching shirt and pants there was a white cloak over it. The cloak was similar to his jacket with the flames on the bottom of it, with a 5-pendant necklace on his neck. The 5 swirls on the back of the coat as well, matched it perfectly. All in all, the suit put together looked amazing. As Naruto arrived and came to a stop, right in the center of the coat, there was a vertical kanji 4, second flash going down. As it was blue, streaks running through the word, making it look more elegant and flashy as well. As Naruto stood there at the altar, waiting on his time to come. As she finally came out, her hair was done up, with a pin going through it, 2 bangs coming down and adorning her face. As they rested gently at the side of her face, pure white kimono with the lilies at the bottom, white elegant heels on her feet, the light pink lipstick on her lips, the eyeliner and the blush. She was wearing a translucent veil that covered over her face. Several of the guys in the crowd were shocked. Yes, they knew that she was beautiful, but now she just looked. As they quickly averted their eyes, as they saw Naruto and Gaara looking their way. But they couldn't help it, she was just stunning. Even Naruto stood there shocked. With her having it on, it just looked amazing. Temari, though, had a feeling of pure love in her heart, for more than one reasons. The kimono that she was wearing was not a normal kimono. It was similar to the one that she wore on the first date, and also similar to the one that her mother had in that photo that he showed her on her wedding day with her father. Naruto had designed them perfectly to match the one that she wore on the first date with him, and the one that her mother wore with the lilies on the bottom. He remembered it all and put it together. It was amazing when she saw it. Her breath had been caught as she was taken aback. The details that were carved into it, everything was just perfect. As she saw how drop dead gorgeous he looked in the attire that she chose for him, this day couldn't be any more perfect. As she stood beside him when she got there with the desert, lily in her hand. You look wonderful, sister, said Gaara as she smiled at him. As Gaara then cleared his throat, getting their attention. We are gathered here today to witness the holy matrimony of our 2 loving lovebirds, Gaara said, making them chuckle. As he spoke up once again, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, do you take Temari no Sabaku to be your lawful wedding wife? Do you promise to be true to her in good times and bad, in sickness and health? To love and honor her for all the days of your life? He asks. I do, said Naruto. There was no hesitation, nothing at all. Temari no Sabaku, do you take Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze to be your lawfully wedded husband? Do you promise to be true to him in good times and bad, in sickness and in health? To love him and honor him all the days of your life? I do, she said. As Gaara spoke up once again, is there any reason why anyone wished that these two should not be joined on this day? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Not a single person said anything though, as Gaara smiled at that. The bride and the groom may now exchange your vows, Gaara said, as Naruto went first. With this ring, I give you my promise from this day forward. I will give you all my love, and you shall never walk alone. I have no greater gift to give, as your love is my anchor, and your trust is my strength. May my heart be your shelter, and my arms be your home. As this ring has no end or beginning, so shall my love for you be. As I placed on your finger, I give you all that I am, and all that I shall become. I will love forever, and beyond my love. As Naruto slipped the ring on her finger, she went next. I, Temari no Sabaku, take you, babyface one, to be my husband, my friend, my lover, my tormentor, my companion in life, and my instigator in trouble. I will love you unconditionally, support you in your goals, honor and respect you, without too much sass. I promise to love you faithfully through perfect times and through troubling times. And I hereby promise to resist the urge to beat your ass when you're being difficult, to get out of the bed. In the presence of our family and friends, an instigator who has tagged along, I offer you my solemn vow to be your brat in sickness and in health, despite your whining most of the time, in good times and in bad, in sorrow times as well. I give you my trust, my love, and my soul. I will forever and always be yours, and even the time beyond my love. As she slipped the platinum ring on his finger, as they heard awe and so cute from the crowd. So through the mutual consent of the loving couple in front of the eyes of everyone, I, Gaara no Sabaku, 5th Kasakage of the Sand, hereby declare, you man and wife, may Kami bless your marriage and love. You may kiss the bride, Gaara said, as Naruto walked up and removed the veil. Before he pulled her in a deep, loving kiss, the crowd got up as they started to clap, as Conqueror was crying. Gaara placed a hand on his brother's shoulder, as they broke the kiss. I love you, Naruto whispered. I love you more, she said. As the both of them walked down into the crowd, right beside each other as they greeted the guests and the council members, as several people wished them a happy marriage. Before Gaara clinked a glass together, alright, the food has been served, he said. There are delicacies of the best chefs from all over the elemental nation. However, as you all can see, there's one stand that has yet to be uncovered. This was arranged by my sister for a surprise. As Temari pulled Naruto with her, Naruto was confused what was going on. Haim, what have you arranged for me as a surprise, said Naruto, looking around. Kankuro, do it, she said. As Kankuro walked up and moved the small curtains that covered the booth, as two people came out and stood right there. Naruto was shocked, speechless. Ichiwaka Ramen was displayed proudly on the sign, and two people were standing there was none other than Ayam and Tuki. Ayam looked towards Naruto with a fond smile, as Tuki called the blonde over out of his stupor. As Naruto's eyes were watering as he looked towards the both of them, as he walked around the counter and hugged the both of them with all his might. These were the ones that had hid him away from mobs and fed him when he had no money. The father and daughter hugged him back tightly as they smiled happily. As Naruto pulled back, I'm so glad that the both of you are here. It wouldn't have been the same without you, Ayam Nichan, said Naruto. And you, Tuki Chichi, said Naruto with a smile, as he wiped away the tears. Look at you. It seems like they don't know how to feed you properly. Why don't we get that solved, shall we? Now have a seat, and we'll prepare that special ramen you love so much. Temari stood there with a fond look on her face. She had arranged for everything for them to come here, and set up their restaurant in one of the most popular area in the Sand Village. Keep them coming, old man, she heard him said, as Naruto was crying as he dug down on the ramen. He really missed ramen, and there was no ramen in the universe that could compare to this ramen. When Naruto heard that they were here to stay, he was overjoyed. As he hugged them, he hugged Temari. He just seemed to be hugging everyone. The ramen flushing down his system and going into his stomach, it was just amazing today. Today was just... The words could not describe what he was feeling at the moment. Words could not describe this emotion that he was feeling. He was just in complete bliss. As Gaara and Conqueror came with their present, they gave Naruto a box as he took it. That's our present to you too. I certainly hope that you will like it. As Temari hugged their two baby brothers, giving them both a kiss on the cheek, making them blush in embarrassment as Naruto opened the box to see a pair of keys. As he looked up confused. However, there was a note inside as well. It was the address that was just beside their house. We don't want to hear any more noise tonight, said Conqueror, and we would like to sleep in peace. So go on and break the new bed at your new house, he said. As Temari blushed at his words, but she let it slide for today. As Naruto was about to tell them that it was too much. But Gaara said that he would have none of it. As they walked towards the empty house, it was a traditional two-story Japanese house with a lot of space. As they went upstairs and saw the master bedroom, seeing that this was the most expensive part of the village clan grounds, it must have cost Gaara quite a bit, but he would hear none of it. It was his gift to them. Time skip. Tonight was going to be a very special night. A very special night indeed. As both Temari and Naruto went to bed, the both of them could not get their hands off one another. Temari had dreamed and thought about this day for a very long time. She couldn't believe. She couldn't believe that she was getting what she actually wanted at first. Growing up after not seeing anyone that she truly liked that much, she thought that maybe her dream would have to, well, be broken with not what she expected. However, since meeting the blonde, since going through what they've been through, everything has just been magical. So tonight, as the both of them made their way towards the bedroom, as they lie with one another, she thanked him, tears in her eyes. As Naruto wanted to say something, but she cut him off by planting a kiss on his lips, as the both of them consummate the marriage. It was a very romantic and wonderful night, as they explore every inch of each other. It was amazing. Hours later, the both of them were glistening in sweat, as they lie beside each other, as they panted, as the both of them looked over towards each other in their eyes. As words could not describe what they were feeling, they merely brought their heads together and touched their foreheads, as there seemed to be a mental link of sorts going on between them. As they just stayed there like that, they eventually fall asleep like that, their arms holding on to each other, their minds, body, their soul, everything seemed to be connected into one. Time skip. It has been 2 weeks since their wedding. There was only 2 days left until the finals of the June exams. The first 2 parts are being held within the Hidden Leaf, as the finals was going to be held here at the Hidden Sand. So yes, many Konoha ninjas were coming here, and Sasuke was also coming here as well, believing that he could take Temari from this supposed fiancé that she was with, believing the guy was not worthy. Sasuke had no idea what he was coming, well, to see. It was morning though. The bright sun rays came through the window and hit Naruto right in his face. As he looked down toward his chest, where his beautiful wife was lying on top of him, her head resting on his chest, as his hand combed through her hair. Yes, his wife. No longer girlfriend, his wife. As that brought a smile to his face. Despite it being over 2 weeks, he couldn't stop saying that. He was married. This was something he ever wanted. Being alone for majority of his life, he always wanted a family. And here he was with his wife that he loved so much. They had enjoyed their first week of marriage. However, her responsibility for the finals had came over her, with Shikamaru taking the position to handle everything within Konoha. She was still here in charge of the sand. And there was a lot of things to be taken care of. The preparations, the food stalls where they would be staying, where the dignitaries would be staying. Gaara had been buried in paperwork as Naruto had taken upon himself to take full responsibility of the security. And all the protection on that day, where the ninjas would be set up and everything. As Temari moaned in her sleep, slowly regaining consciousness. Naruto knew that she was awake, but she was just plain to be asleep. As he started to tease her by trailing kisses down her neck. You know, if you're awake, you shouldn't be acting like you're asleep, Haim, said Naruto. Come on, let me see those beautiful eyes of yours. As he tickled her in her side, making her jump. Hey you, she said, opening her eyes. As Naruto smiled as she cuddled in his arms, looking up at him. As she rolled over on top of him. She's been really tired lately, as he could see that. As he just wished that he could do more to help her. So, how was the preparations been going, said Naruto. She did not answer, she simply frowned. So they've been that tiring, huh, said Naruto. As she simply nodded in his chest, as he brushed his hand through her hair. It's like none of those idiots know what to do without my guidance. I mean, come on, at least do something that would surprise me that everything's going along nicely. No, it's always Temari this, Temari that. As she sighed. At least tell me that everything's okay with the security. Of course, said Naruto. There's nothing to worry about there. All the shinobis will be notified of their security protocols today by the Envoy and Jonin commander. I kept everyone in the dark until the last moment, so there could be no leak or breach in security. As she smiled and hugged him happily hearing that. As he heard the bell to the house ring. Were you expecting someone? Asked Naruto. She shook her head no. As Naruto kissed her on the lip. Alright, I'll go see who it is, he said, as he slipped out of bed. As he put on his pajamas and made his way downstairs. As he opened the door to see Matsuri standing there. As he was surprised to see her this early in the morning. Oh hey, Matsuri, he said. Do you need something? As the girl glanced away, as Naruto wondered what was, he then realized he was not wearing a shirt. Namikaze-sama. Kazekage-sama wanted me to inform you and Temari-sama that she will have to welcome the dignitaries arriving today at noon. He also asked me if you have finished preparing the security details. She said politely. Alright, I'll inform Temari about the welcome arrangements. Tell Gaara not to worry about the security arrangements. The plan would reach his decks at noon today. Tell him just to handle all the diplomatic stuff and leave the rest to me, said Naruto. I'll handle it. As she nodded her head. Have you had breakfast, Matsuri? Said Naruto. Would you like to come in? Oh, that's very generous of you, Namikaze-sama, but Kazekage-sama need me today, so I'll have to decline, she said politely. As she said her goodbyes, as Naruto closed the door, and he made his way to his kitchen to prepare breakfast. A few minutes later, he felt two arms wrapped around his waist. Are you already bored of me, she said, after 2 weeks. As Naruto brought her around, as he rested his head on her shoulder, as he placed a knife in her arm and used it to cut the vegetables. How can I get bored of my Haim, said Naruto, especially when you were so amazing last night. That made her blush. Pervert, she said, as Naruto chuckled at that. Oh, you have no right to say that, especially after all the dirty things you said you want me to do to you last night. I remember this one when you said she covered his mouth, stuffing some tomato in his mouth, as she then brought his chin up to chew. No repeating that, she said, as Naruto chuckled at the look on her face. She was just so cute. He informed her about everything. However, they had to get a shower. She made her way up as Naruto placed things down here to simmer a bit, creating a clone, as he made his way up there in the bath with her. Temari watched as the door slid open. As Naruto was looking at her, he was not wearing a shred of clothing. So now can I repeat what you said last night, Naruto asked. She blushed, however she reached out and grabbed his arm as she pulled him inside and locked the door behind him. Once they were done, they went back downstairs, as the meal was already prepared. As they sat down, Temari sat right in Naruto's lap as Naruto fed her. The both of them just could not get enough of each other. After that, she was fully dressed up. Now let's go, she said. Or do you want me to be late for my welcoming? Well, said Naruto as he gave her a look, as she blushed and turned her head. I have to welcome the dignitaries, Yubaka, she said. Now come, escort me at least halfway, where we will have to part ways, she said. As Naruto locked the door as he walked through the streets, Her head was resting on his shoulder as she wrapped her arm around his arm. As people waved and bowed as they saw them, as they greeted them back with kind. They arrived toward the center of the village as they saw Gar and Conqueror there waiting on them. He saw Conqueror handing Gar some money. As Conqueror was grumbling as Naruto was confused. What was that all about, Naruto asked. As Conqueror frowned, as Gar simply smirked. We made a bet on if you would make her later or not, said Gar. Ha, and I'm guessing you lost, said Naruto, as he saw Conqueror glaring at him, making Naruto chuckle. As Temari realized what they were betting on, she turned her head away from them, causing Naruto to chuckle even more. Alright, Haim, said Naruto. I'll go and take care of all the shinobi stuff, while you and your brother have fun with the delegates, right? As she nodded and brought the hug. She already missed him. Thanks for taking over all of this stuff from me, Naruto. I really appreciate your help, said Gaara. As Naruto simply waved it off, it was no problem. As with that, they made their way off. Time skip, village gates. As they arrived at said gates, the Chunin there bowed to them. As they sat down, Gaara knew that there was envoys, probably all over the place if he knew Naruto correctly, but he could not see a single one of them. As he saw how a lot of the burden had been split away from him, with Naruto taking over several of the villagers' important walk-in, Gaara had much more time to focus on other things as well, and not to mention with, also, the Jonin commander and the envoy commander reported him as well if Gaara was busy. To be quite frank, Gaara wanted to hand the hat over to him, and maybe actually switch job with him. However, Naruto told him that he should be quite happy with his position. After all, he didn't like paperwork that much. As Gaara cursed at the blonde, knowing that he would say that back to him after what he had witnessed what the Kazekage truly did. Yes, the paperwork was the truly hellish part. Not to mention, Naruto could not use clones all the time on paperworks, especially important documents, so yes, that was a problem. However, despite that, Naruto was making his job a lot easier by taking on several people that had meetings with Gaara, and Naruto were able to fulfill what they wanted. Several carriages as people came into view, as Temari and Conqueror and Gaara stood to greet said people as they all arrived. It was the first time in a very long time that all 5 great nations would be a part of a Chunin exams. The last time this happened was a long time ago in Kiri. The reason was the San was the most neutral village at the moment, and not to mention with all of their new security detail being heightened to a degree that no one could understand. Many people wanted to understand. Temari welcomed the party from the Hidden Earth. The third Tishikage Onki, along with Akisaki and Kurosaki, along with their daimyo, was there, as she greeted them and sent them off with their personal envoy along to the desert oasis hotel. The Hidden Stone was completely neutral with the San right now. The next was the delegation from Kumo, with the 4th Raikage A, along with Darui, and C along with them, followed by the daimyo as well. The Raikage was a man that viewed strength most above everything, and Temari was a well-known kunoichi in the bingo book, so he respected her. As they were sent off to the hotel, the rest of the parties, the Jonins, were being sent off to a different hotel. Unknown to them, envoys were all over the place, but they could not pick up on them. It was because of the sensory seal that Naruto placed on them, completely masking their presence, while eyes and ears were everywhere, despite them not knowing that. However, things became a bit tense as a delegation from Kiri came here. Kiri and the San had never been in good terms because of what her father did some time ago in the last war. However, she heard about the new Mizukage there. The woman was extremely beautiful, wearing the hat as she had 2 guards. One of them seemed to be rather young. He had blue hair, and the other one was a tall man with an eye patch. Maybe with the new Mizukage their relationship could improve, as Gaara was the one to welcome them personally. As they were escorted to the hotel as well, Temari had chosen the place perfectly because it had many different buildings so they could keep them apart, and also at the same place as well. Lastly came Konoha. The only person that Temari respected was Tsunade and Shizune as well. As she welcomed them, Tsunade took the hands of the girl as they greeted each other kindly. However, Temari suppressed the glare that she wanted to send off as she saw her 2 bodyguards. As she saw the white-haired pervert looking at her, she calmed herself. Welcome to the San, Hatake-san, Jiraiya-sama, she said. As she saw the two Jonins behind them as well. That was Shikamaru and Sasuke. She dismissed the both of them without even giving them a glance. As Sasuke was checking her out, she looked so beautiful as she walked with that elegance that made him want her even more. She will be the perfect matriarch for the Uchiha clan. She will be the perfect one to help him revive his clan as he watched her greet everyone there. And she had this new glow on her face, which was not there before, and it made her look that much more entrancing. She was plain hard to get. However, Sasuke liked that because in the end, he knew that he will win. He always does. Several others of the rookie team was there as well. She wanted to tell all of them to go and screw off, but for diplomatic reasons she could not, as she motioned them towards the escort to the hotel. As they made their way off, several minor villages also came, like from Grass and Waterfall, as she welcomed them all. "Thank God it's over," she said, as they were finally done, as she was drinking a bottle of water. "Well, there is certainly a lot of people this time for the exams." Kankuro says he gulped down some water as well, as Garen nodded. "Yes, these are the biggest finals ever in the history of the 5 great villages. There has never been such a large gathering at one during the exam finals. It will be good for diplomatic talks between our villages." Temari nodded as she knew that was true. As she saw that the sun was setting, she bade them farewell, seeing that she was going to go home to Naruto. Time skip. Namikaze residence. Temari arrived as she saw that the house was still locked. She realized he was running late. As she unlocked it, placed her shoes off to the side as she made her way upstairs. As she went upstairs and simply collapsed on the bed with a tired sigh. Around 5 minutes of just lying there, she felt someone arrive. A smile came on her face as she felt him start to give her a massage. "My Haim look really tired tonight." "I let it down," she said, moaning into his touch. He always knew the right place to release her stress. Time skip. Later in the night, as Temari came to, as she was in Naruto's arms. She had fallen asleep in his arms, as Naruto was asleep beside her. She woke up with a smile on her face, her stirring, causing to wake up as well. "Hey you," she said. "Hey yourself, princess," said Naruto, as he held on to her. "You didn't eat dinner, did you?" she asked, as he shook his head no. "You don't have to sleep on an empty stomach, just because I did not eat," she said. She already knew the answer that was coming. "How could I eat when my Haim did not eat?" said Naruto. She sighed. One of the more reasons why she loved him so much. "I'm hungry," she said. "You want to eat something? Order or go out?" Let's go out. A midnight date," she said, as they put on simple clothing and made their way. As Naruto wrapped her arm around her, pulling her close to him as they walked. The night was a bit chilly, but his comfort gave her warmth. There were still several people up and about. As they walked to a small restaurant that was still open, the manager saw them as he welcomed them. As he brought them to a nice quiet booth, one of the places that were still open even this late in the night. As they sat down, Temari looked over at him. "What should that look?" said Naruto. "It's just, this has got to be the best date ever. I mean, we just got up and head out in the middle of the night, coming on a date," she said. As Naruto chuckled at that, they ordered some sushi and some steak as well, as they chatted about this day events. As they used the chopsticks to also feed each other, as they drank their steak, enjoying their time. For the couple, everything seemed to just be wonderful, despite the things that they had to do, despite everything. When they had their precious moments, they lived in complete bliss with one another. Their love was something that seemed to be all-encompassing, something that wrapped around them each and every day, something they cannot get over. It was amazing, as neither of them wanted to get over it. They did not drink much, well, not that it would bother Naruto so much. As for his tenants' ability to keep away the alcohol, Naruto and the fox had become somewhat close. Close as a bloodthirsty Biju and a human could be. The fox was rather sarcastic. However, the fox respected Naruto. Despite everything, look at him now. Despite everything he was been through, the fox respected him, and not to mention, because of Naruto using his own power and not forcefully taking the fox's power, and seeing that in the past couple of years Naruto had sat down and wanting to get to better understand and know him. They talk. At first, the fox simply ignored him, but Naruto kept on returning day after day, week after week, until the fox finally started to talk to him in small amounts. So while everything was not perfect, they were not trying to actively hurt each other. As the fox saw him as something different, he remembered the past when the two other people told him that he could not be free to walk the earth because his power was too destructive. All he needed to do was remain here and be quiet. And yet, Naruto spoke to him, sat down and actually have a conversation with him, not treating him like some mindless beast. That is why his respect for the blonde grew a lot. And not to mention, he said that he liked his mate Vixen. That is what he called Temari, Naruto mate Vixen. So, I saw Sakura here today, along with many of the rookies from Konoha delegation and their Jonin sensei. Temari said as she looked up towards Naruto. As Naruto looked at her, "Are you jealous?" he asked. "What? Of course not," she said. "Well, there's no need to worry," said Naruto. "I could never love another. I could never commit a sin like that. My love for you is unbreakable," said Naruto. That made her blush quite heavily. He could always come up with these amazing romantic things. And besides, almost all of Konoha, except for a select few, died when they betrayed me. So there's nothing to worry about, said Naruto. Temari knew that she was being stupid at even mentioning Sakura. However, she remembered the past, but that was not the same person that stood in front of her now. Things were different, and besides, with everything. Yeah, she knew that she was being stupid, but she just... The thought of ever losing him to anything, she just couldn't stand that thought. How could one person be so emotionally invested and bond with one person? She just couldn't understand it. There was just something that pulled them together like an unbreakable force. Once they were done, they paid the man with a good healthy tip, as he had been quite accommodating. As they were walking, Naruto saw a young girl, as she was crying and running. She saw him as Naruto kneeled down to her level. She ran right in his arms. Now, said Naruto. There is no need for such tears. As he tried to calm her down. As she recognized Naruto, she saw his whiskers. You're him. Whiskers-kun, she said. As Temari giggled at that name. As Naruto too recognized the girl. Her father came for her to be admitted in the academy. But Naruto was confused by this situation. What are you doing here? Haru-chan, said Naruto. It's late. And why are you alone? He asked. As he wiped away her tears. I broke a vase when I went to go to the bathroom. And Dad yelled at me, she said. So I ran away. And now I can't find my house, she said. Given how dark the place was, Naruto was not surprised. And not to mention her age. Don't worry, said Naruto. I'll get you back home safe, okay? As she nodded. As Naruto handed the girl over to Temari. He flared his chakra. As 4 Anbus appear. Yes, Namikaze-sama. Naruto was not pleased. If you were in the vicinity, why didn't you help this little girl? She was lost, alone and scared. As the group gulped at that, as the leader spoke up, but Namikaze-sama, according to your orders, we're to look after the village and the security. Naruto cut him off from saying anything else. It's irrelevant, he said. If my forces can't even look after the well-being of a crying child in the night, then what security are you talking about? Would you have been responsible for reporting to her father that you saw her and left his daughter alone? Answer me, said Naruto. As they looked down in shame. The shinobis are stationed for the village security, correct? But if we can't protect our children, what good are you looking after the shinobi threats? They are the future of this village, and they must be protected at all costs. So remember this. Security is not important if we can't protect the true meaning of this village, which is the people, the children, the future. Do you all understand me? Said Naruto. As they nodded their heads. And you 4 better be prepared to write a 5-page report on your actions and what you have learned tonight. And if your report is not good enough, then be ready to be stripped of your Anbu mask after the finals. Do you understand me? Said Naruto. They all nodded, trembling a bit by his tone. At least that will get his point across. Dismissed, said Naruto. As they all vanished away. The people around that saw that display, they had a look on their face, a look of pure gratitude towards him. In the past, the civilians of the village were not taken into account for most things. After all, it's always been the shinobi. Most villages really focus on the shinobi needs first. However, Naruto was a person that wanted to include everyone, wanted to make sure that the village rise as one, and grew as one. And thus, they were beyond grateful for that. With his new position and the new power that he had, people looked up to him greatly. As both Naruto and Temari walked towards his office to find the administration form for this girl, to find her address. However, as they got there, they saw her father. The man seemed to be on the verge of breaking down, as he had came here trying to get help to find his daughter. However, his complaint should have been listed and been reported to the other patrols. However, it seems like all of Naruto's security helping stations had not been fully rectified. As he hugged his daughter with all of his might, she was just a young girl. She didn't mean to run away. Her father didn't mean to yell at her. He loved her so much. He loved her with all of his heart. As she thanked Whiskers for all that he did for her, her father was shocked by what she called Namikaze-sama. However, Naruto simply laughed it off as he patted her on the head, as Temari started to tease him, calling him Whiskers. As the both of them headed home, after all, tomorrow was going to be a hectic, trying day. The next morning, Temari had to meet up with the dignitaries, as she won't be able to have any more alone time with Naruto for quite some time. That saddened her greatly, as she's going to be really busy, as Naruto simply kissed her. That will make it just more amazing once they reunite and get to spend time together. So, said Naruto, what do you say to a little shower then? No, she said. As Naruto fake mock hurt. Why not, he said. Because I will not have anyone seeing me walking with a limp for the entire day. As she blushed and looked away, causing him to chuckle. It would be your fault, by the way, she said. Well, it will be an extremely pleasurable fault, said Naruto, as she blushed once again and turned her gaze, making him wrap his arms around her as he started to kiss her. As she started to melt, she tried to fight him. She tried her best, although she was not putting up that much a fight, as she leaned into his embrace. Fine, but we will just be making out, she said, as she took him to the shower with her. The both of them started to make out, as their lips intertwined. However, making out led to something else. As she looked towards him, knowing, what do you want to do? Fine, make it quick, she said. However, she stopped him, as she started to tease him. How much do you love me, she said, teasing him as she talked. More than you know, said Naruto, as she kept on stopping him. Before she paused, what if I were to stop you right now? Please don't, he begged. What if I do, she asked. You wouldn't, said Naruto, as he looked into her eyes vulnerable. Seeing that they were not going to see each other for about 2 weeks, Naruto wanted to spend time with her now. However, she was just playing with him. She had no plans to go all the way today. As he realized, you really would have stopped, wouldn't you, he said. As he actually felt hurt for real, she saw the look in his eyes, knowing that he wouldn't get to see her for the next 2 weeks. He wanted to spend the time with her. Naruto, she said, as she saw the way he was looking. She was just pranking him. She didn't mean to. Granted, they had never pranked each other when it came to making love. That was something special this year. Given that they've been together for the longest time, and that was something that they see as incredibly personal and special. Despite them joking about it, they'd never pranked each other like that before. Did she went too far? And she baited him on until the very last moment. As she then glanced up towards the clock as she realized that the time was getting late. As Naruto had left out, she could see that he was upset. However, it wasn't about just them sleeping together or anything like that. Last night, when they had returned back home after the whole sushi thing, that date, they had talked about starting a family. She knew that that was a very sore subject for him, as he always wanted a family. Maybe all of that brought up some things that he would rather not remember. She would have to talk to him later because she was running late and she had to go. Meanwhile, with Naruto, as he walked through the village streets, after he had gotten dressed, he had flashed out. That is why Temari was unable to, well, see him. He knew that he might have overreacted a bit. But there was a lot of things on his mind lately. He'll have to talk to her about it later. Naruto was trying not to let it bother him. He was trying hard. As a part of it was not about Temari, but there were several people here that he wished not to see, but he knew. He just knew that he will have a little run-in with them. He was certain of that. As he could feel them all over the village, their chakra. Thoughts about his life back in Konoha, when he wanted to have a family there, and be the Hokage came back in his mind. Maybe he had overreacted with Temari because of all of that. Damn it. And he was just letting out that stress on her. But now everything was different. He was here with her, the girl that he loved. As Naruto almost slapped himself for overacting like that. After all, she was just playing with him. Granted, family was something that he always have a sore spot on, but still. And now with these people in the sand, it was only a matter of time before they found out that he was here. And he would have to see those people again. Some people that he thought he would be close to for, well, his entire life. However, they treat him like garbage and, well, he was kicked out of the village. Those things weigh heavily on his mind right now as he tried to not to focus on that. As he went to the office to get to put the security detail into play. After all, everything had to be perfect. He had to make sure the village was well guarded. Yes, he had to. As Naruto was unaware that today will be the day when he ran into several of his past comrades. Several people that thought that he was dead. He was gonna finally meet them again after so long. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the playlist of yourself. Don't forget to go ahead and check out the what ifs of the other channels. And yeah guys, if you're new, remember I do have 4 channels, link in description. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and comment down below and tell me if you're new, so I can, well, welcome you personally. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new movie over Anime Prince, and also a brand new series over Anime King. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them, but for now, I'm out for you. See you guys soon. Peace.